Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Blue Jays Today. We're your boys. We always got something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog. And today, everybody, we have some news that honestly is going to trigger a lot of you. It's going to trigger us while we're making this freaking podcast. But some recent reports have come out about Vladimir Guerrero Jr., his potential free agency, and the fact that he would apparently love to be part of the Boston Red Sox. We're going to get into all of that, what this means, where this came from, and just like the hell that we are currently living in, folks. But before we do, please make sure to hit that like, smash the subscribe button, and let us know your thoughts about all this in the comments down below, man, because we've already entered into what I was fearing would be one hell of a whole, trade speculation, and obviously with Guerrero, I didn't think it would happen this soon, but here we are.
Yeah, on January 7th, you didn't think we'd already be getting to Vladdy leaving the Toronto Blue Jays? I didn't either, but that's what's come out right now. There was a recent article by Bob Nightengale, a reputable guy. Granted, he's had some pretty interesting sources come out in the past. People are like, wait, where did you hear this information from? I believe he was the same guy that broke the whole Bo Bichette wants to get traded out of Toronto or something like that, or would welcome a trade or some sort of capacity of that nature, which is like, hell, if he knows that guy, if he knows the friends of Bo, then there you go. Then it's coming out. But he also comes out with this from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. This was in his article saying on this second paragraph right here, if Guerrero doesn't receive an extension by spring training, he'll test free agency and likely will be wearing a Red Sox uniform in 2026. You think, wait, why would he be wearing that? Well, if Guerrero doesn't return to the Blue Jays, he would love to be with the Red Sox, friends say. So again, more friends around Guerrero apparently have come out, and the rumors have spread to Bob Nightengale, which is why the Red Sox are hesitant in the pursuit of Bregman. So if this is true, if Vladdy's been chatting it up with some friends saying, hey, you know what? I would really love to play on the Red Sox with Rafael Devers and what they're building over there in Fenway Park with a historic franchise, then that's terrible for Blue Jays in a number of reasons, Nick, because, you're losing your star guy, and you're also losing him to a division rival, which means many, many years of just terrible, terrible baseball where you're losing that war. You're losing 6-7 war from your team, going over the Red Sox for God knows how many years.
Yeah, of course. And there's also the fan aspect of then having to watch Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in a Red Sox uniform.
Terrible.
That's not something that I want to have to see for 13 games every single year for the rest of my life. Like, no, thank you, everybody. If this is true, you gotta do something about it, Ross. Like, you cannot allow Vladimir Guerrero. For starters, you can't allow Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to leave in the first place. That's what we've been saying all of this offseason, for years, actually, of off seasons. We've been saying that. But two, you especially cannot let him leave if he's going to a division rival. Are you kidding me? Now, we gotta look at this from a Boston Red Sox standpoint. Does this have any legs? Would this make sense for them? Because recently, the Red Sox, they haven't been big spenders. Well, this offseason is a little different. They are in a similar boat as to us right now, where they keep going after these big-time free agents, and they're just missing out a little bit. If Guerrero hits free agency, I have no doubt in my mind next year that they are 100% going to be in on him. And when you really think about it from his perspective, well, over there, they got Rafael Devers locked up for a long period of time. Me and him are kind of close. We're buddies. I'm familiar with Boston. I've played in that ballpark many times before, and I've played pretty well there, might I add. So, honestly, I can understand why Vladimir Guerrero Jr. might want to go there if he is on the market. And honestly, from a Red Sox standpoint, I can certainly understand why they would pursue him.
Well, absolutely. He's going to be the top talent in the next free agent class, assuming Kyle Tucker doesn't have a monster season next year and surpasses Vladimir Guerrero Jr. But I like what this last line says here by Bob Nightengale, which may be why the Red Sox are hesitant in the pursuit of Bregman. So this is, they're considering already this plan right now. If they go get Bregman or they get Arenado, I think that they can back off a little bit in maybe a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. conversation. Obviously, Vladdy's better than those two players, but then you'd have a logjam at first base and third base. Where are you going to put Vlad? DH? Now you're really logjamming yourself for the next 10 years in that DH spot or at least maybe until Nolan Arenado or Bregman, their contracts are up. But still, if they go get those guys, then maybe they're not as persistent, and maybe that helps the Blue Jays have a chance to have one less competitor next offseason.
Yeah, of course. At this point, I kind of want them to go out and get a Bregman, right? If that's going to take you out of the Guerrero race, like, please do it. But then on the flip side of things, it's like, does that mean if we go get a Bregman, we're out of the Guerrero race, right? Like, if that's the logic we're using.
Well, here's the other thing. We don't have a lockdown third baseman for multiple years.
Which is
true.
What
I mean?
Which is very, very true, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, something to consider right there. Now, I do want to flash over to the first part, prior to him talking about how he's likely going to be a Red Sox. All of this is stemming from the extension talks. And the extension talks are not going well right now. Apparently, the Toronto Blue Jays are at least $100 million off from what Vladimir Guerrero Jr. believes he is worth. He's asking for roughly $450, or $450. Smash that. $450 million minimum is roughly where he's at right now. And if you guys remember, several weeks back, there was an offer that came out from the Toronto Blue Jays that was for $340 million. So we can debate till the cows come home about what Vladdy is actually worth and everything like that. Really, the only thing that matters is that he thinks he's worth that, and they think he's worth this. And this is $100 million less than that, which is making me think that there is no way we're going to bridge this gap between spring training if this is so much less than that.
Well, think about last year when it came down to $1 million of difference in his arbitration, and we were willing to go to arbitration with our star player over $1 million, which, spoiler, we lost because apparently we don't know how to value this guy. We're
timesing that by 100 now.
We're timesing that by 100, and I do think Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is worth that kind of money because when you factor in the youth, the potential he's got, the years, the flashes of MVP caliber seasons he had, and the fact that he's going to be the highest, paid next free agent in the next class. You got market value kind of going up 10%, add that 10% or 20%, whatever it might be. It's going to come to 450 at least next season, 100%. So if you're not willing to match what he's going to be, then he's going to be gone by spring training, which again is the deadline that he set for the Toronto Blue Jays. And it frustrates me even more. It's not like he's being like reluctant to negotiate with you. Remember a few weeks ago when he said that he's given the front office an exact number on a podcast, literally the exact number that he would be willing to sign for. So Bob Nightengale may or may not know it. The friends may not know it. But Vladdy in the front office of Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro, they know the number. And it would be a failure if they didn't match that before spring training.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, again, like, it all depends what the number is. I mean, if it's $800 million, then it is what it is. I'm assuming it's not like that. I'm assuming it's reasonable enough that, yes, they should be able to hit this thing. And ultimately, like, this is our guy, right? This is our future here. Now, I did think about this, and I truly hope that this is the case. One wrinkle, maybe something to consider here, who's leaking this information? It's Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s friends. Is it possible that, through some negotiation tactics, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is having some of his friends leak this information to light a fire under Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro's ass?
Maybe.
It's possible. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, we've seen a lot of these MLB players come out here, especially during free agency, right? And when it's time for contracts and, kind of do these mind games and everything like that. Fuck, Ross Atkins plays mind games with Vladdy all the time. So I wouldn't be 100% shocked if Guerrero is kind of like pushing for these rumors to get out, because honestly, like, what are we doing right now? What are we doing? Yeah. We're screaming at the top of our lungs, like, you can't let him do that. You have to pay him.
What's worse than Vladdy leaving? Vladdy leaving to the Red Sox or Yankees, like a division rival.
And you can buy that too. I would imagine that the Toronto management and us, we can all buy that. So I'm just throwing that out there. Again, that's pure speculation on my part. Right. I could also 100% believe that Guerrero has come out and said to his friends, I wouldn't mind playing there.
Remember when he liked that one post of him, Soto, and Devers? Like, I mean, hell yeah. I mean, yes. Take our bias out of it. Take the Blue Jays-ness out of this. That would be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool.
To go play with at least Rafael Devers, not Soto anymore, but at least Rafael Devers for the next 10 years.
Historic franchise in Boston. Feels like they're on the upswing. You like what they're doing over there.
His swing plays really well in that ballpark. A lot of pop-ups. Remember all those pop-ups that he didn't get for homers in 2023? Hey, maybe he hits like 5 more over the fence. You have to go to Baseball Savant for that, but still, there could be a lot of good value there for him playing for his entire career.
Yes, I did just want to throw that out there because, again, it's a possibility. However, all of it, that being said, it's not a risk that I'm necessarily willing to take. I still think that they need to be listening to this and going, okay, we got to get our shit together. Now, along with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bob Nightengale also revealed this little snippet, and this isn't as, I guess, triggering for Blue Jays fans, because I think a lot of us are kind of expecting this anyways. But just a reminder, everybody, Bo Bichette doesn't like it here, apparently, according to Bob Nightengale. Bichette is as good as gone, with no real interest in returning. Friends
more
say.
More friends.
So more friends of Bo Bichette coming out here and saying that he has no interest in returning. Honestly, that one, I actually 100% believe. I don't think that there's actually no, I guess competitive advantage for Bo Bichette to put that out there at all.
Yeah, no.
And I do genuinely think that, he probably is as good as gone, and it did feel like last year anyways that the interest from him in the Toronto Blue Jays was well, it was minimal.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Like, Bob is real tight with Vlad and Bo's friends, apparently. And, but for Bo Bichette, we all kind of knew this, and that's why with this whole offseason we're kind of thinking about, well, maybe we ship off a trade. But, what this tells me, if he has no interest in returning and Vladdy's thinking about his free agency, and we're also trying to be competitive in 2025, what's the incentive to be a team player next year? I'm thinking about just from a baseball perspective. Yeah, you want to pad your stats, but what's the incentive to be a team player and help out the team and try and win next year? There really is none.
It feels like, the more that we hear from these players, the more that comes out. And this isn't the first time that we've kind of heard guys going up against the Toronto Blue Jays management or questioning the decisions, right? You've heard that from some of the veteran pitchers too, kind of being like, what's going on?
Someone called it a fucking shit show. Remember that?
Yeah, that's a real thing that happened, right? Throwback to the end of year press conference, the best moment of the 2024 Toronto Blue Jays season, seriously.
Yeah.
But it does feel like just across the board, the players aren't bought in on the direction or the mission of this team, right? At the beginning of the season, if you really want to have a winning ball club and a winning mentality, then every single guy in there needs to be bought in on the fact that come October, we are going to be competing for a World Series. That needs to be the mentality. Even if it doesn't happen, that's what they have to believe, so then that they're playing at that high competitive level every single day. It does feel like, Bo Bichette probably isn't bought in on the mission right here. Guerrero right now feels like he's a little bit more concerned with the extension, which I get it.
Yeah.
You are going to get paid a shitload of money. I understand. But it just feels like across the board that, this whole competitive in 2025 thing, the only people that are actually really saying that is Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro. Whoa, time for a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below to join the action. Only available in Ontario. Must be 19 years of older to participate. Please play responsibly. Now, everyone, back to the content.
I know. And I mean, now as Blue Jay fans, we hear it all the time from everybody in the chat. Everyone's saying, well, guys, just give up on hoping for free agents, give up on hoping for 2025. And I hear, logically, I hear everything you're saying, because when you look at everything that's going on right now, this is a disaster. We broke it down in our Blue Jays Today show yesterday with Jeff Passan's quote. This is a disaster. And it is going to continue to be a disaster if we continue to hear all of this crap that's coming out from Bo and from Vlad. It's brutal, and I'm not looking forward to this year.
Well, I'll tell you right now, everybody, if Vladimir Guerrero Jr., if we're to believe what's come out right now from Bob Nightengale, if Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hits free agency and ends up with the Boston Red Sox, I will never forgive the Toronto Blue Jays for letting that happen.
Yeah, like Ross and Mark Shapiro.
I will never forgive them.
They need to be run out of town. Seriously.
You want to talk about the final straw? I thought the final straw was, probably this past year, but that's unforgivable, man.
No, it is. Exactly. Like, I wanted them gone last year. This year, if they're not gone, I have to report on this show report on the Blue Jays because of this show. I'm going to hate watching every single second of the Toronto Blue Jays.
If that is what happens,
I'm going to hate it. But we'll be here.
Yeah, of course.
Because you're going to see how much pain we are in.
But again, you can't let that happen. Maybe Guerrero knows that, and that's why this is getting leaked. Or maybe it is 100% true, and he is actively thinking about playing alongside Rafael Devers next year. We are going to have to wait and see, everybody. You guys let us know your thoughts about all this in the comments down below. How do the Toronto Blue Jays handle this situation? Pretty simple. Just write a fucking check.
Just give him a blank check.
But please let us know your thoughts down below, guys.
$3 a month to become a Patron, guys. Shout out and thank you to all of our current patrons and to our YouTube members. You guys are absolutely awesome.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. And as always,
go Jays, go!